Hello, viewers. Welcome back to Saksham Talks. Once again, today's topic is cryptocurrency. Now, the present world and future is always the things about cryptocurrency. You know that one of the greatest businessman, Tim Draper, said after 5 years from now onwards, anybody using fiat currency will be a fool. Now, present generation and the future is totally depends on the digital and virtual currency. Let us know more about cryptocurrency. We have with us Mr. Rohas Nagpal, author of Future Money Playbook, a lawyer by profession, a cyber crime investigator by profession, a hacker at heart, and a programmer by passion. So he is a master of to talk about the cryptocurrency. So, Mr. Rojas, this is your time. We are very much eagerly waiting for you to know more about the cryptocurrency. Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone, let's keep this session interactive. So if you have questions in the middle, please feel free to ask them. I'm sure the moderator will ask me the relevant question. Now, when we talk about cryptocurrencies, so before we actually start with that, we must need to understand what is the new innovation in cryptocurrencies. So for a very long time, our world has been using this. This is what we call as the fiat currency, which means it is a currency issued by the government. Now I have a question. What
Mm.
I'm holding in my hand right now, is it 500 rupees? Now most of you will say, obviously it is 500. No. You can say that it is a 500 rupee note, but it is not 500 rupees. Now you'll wonder why. See, if you notice here, there is a small message written. It says that I promise to pay the bearer the sum of 500 rupees.
Yeah.
Now the question is, who is signing that? That is
Yeah.
signed by the Reserve Bank of India's governor.
Yeah.
So that means if this is 500 rupees, why is he giving me a promise to give me 500? I thought this was 500 because this is not 500. This, what you see, is a promissory note payable to the bearer on demand. And under the Indian law, it is written that nobody other than the Reserve Bank of India can issue such kind of a promissory note payable to the bearer on demand. Which means if I try to make something like this and I put my photo instead of Gandhiji's photo, I don't write the Reserve Bank's name, I write my own name. Even then, I am not allowed to do it
Oh.
because Reserve Bank only can issue promissory note payable to the bearer on demand. So if I issue it, it's not allowed. And
Mm.
that is fundamentally what we call as fiat currency. It is considered as money only because the government says it is money. So we have to accept it. So far, I'm presuming everything is very clear.
Yeah, absolutely
Now,
right.
in 2008, 2009, a very interesting innovation was made where they talked about a system where there would be a bunch of computers called a blockchain, and that would start to generate a new kind of a currency called Bitcoin. Now, I'm sure you've heard a lot about Bitcoin in the media and you was quite confused about how it really works. Now, at the core of it is that every 10 minutes, a mathematical problem needs to be solved. Let me explain it to you in a simple manner. Let us say that there are 100 of us, and we are all living in different parts of the world, and we are all spending in this so called Bitcoin cryptocurrency. All the transactions that are happening every 10 minutes are taken into one part of the computer system, which we can call as a memory pool. Then a bunch of people who call themselves miners, they will run some kind of a very powerful computer against that entire bunch of transactions. And the first person to solve a particular mathematical problem is called the winner of that block of 10 minutes. And he gets free bitcoins plus some kind of a transaction fee of all these things which are happening. Let's give a very simple example. Let's say I walk into, there is this particular coffee shop in Bangalore where they take money in Bitcoin also. Now, when I go there, at the beginning, they will ask me, are you paying in Bitcoin or are you paying in Paytm? If I say Paytm or cash, they will say, okay, have the coffee, pay when you are going. But if I say I'm paying in Bitcoin, they will say pay first. Then we will serve the coffee. Now you will wonder why. Because when you pay in cash, it's instant. When you pay in Paytm, again, it's just a matter of few seconds. But when you pay in Bitcoin, it could take up to 40 minutes for your transaction to actually go through. Because in Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, those transactions are being processed. And this miners, they are trying to solve this mathematical equation or mathematical problem. But the beauty is you cannot predict how long it will take to solve that problem. On an average, it is supposed to take 10 minutes. But because it is a random problem, it could take more, it could take less. So every 2 weeks, the Bitcoin system, which is called the blockchain, it sees that in the past 2 weeks, what was the average time taken to solve this block? Suppose the answer is 12 minutes. Then the system realizes, no, that means it is very difficult. It should only be 10. So it will change the difficulty level and make it easier to solve this mathematical problem. Again, for 2 weeks, this thing will run. Again, the system will check. Now it says it is only taking 9 minutes, which is less. So the system will make it more difficult. So every 2 weeks, the system auto adjusts the difficulty level to try to maintain an average of 10 minutes per block of transactions. Now, what do you get when you crack this block? So when the blockchain was new for the first 4 years, you used to get 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. After 4 years, it became half. Now, then it became 25. 4 years later, it became 12 and a half. 4 years later, it has now become 6.25. And every 4 years, this will become half till the year 2140 AD, which is like more than 100 years to go. And at that time, there will be no new Bitcoins left, and the total number of Bitcoins will stop at 21 million Bitcoins. So that is a very major difference as compared to a note. Because in the note, the government can print as much as it wants. There is nobody to stop them. But when it comes to Bitcoin, the mathematical works in such a way that there can we call Bitcoin as the world's first norm. When I was in college, I could fill my entire tank full. But today it has become 100 rupees per liter. So my question to you is what's happened? Has petrol become more valuable or has money become less valuable? Actually, money has lost its value. And that is what we mean by the term inflation. Because more and more money gets printed, the value of it keeps falling. But because in Bitcoin, we know it will never go beyond 21 million, that is the reason the value actually is constantly going up. And where Bitcoin was hardly few rupees at one time, today it is about 30 odd lakh rupees. That's how much the value of Bitcoin has actually increased. Any questions so far? Is this concept clear? I cannot hear you, I think. Yeah.
Yes, Rohas, it is clear. Please, you can go ahead, please. No problem.
Sure. So now when we look at it, we call Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency coin. Why do we call it a coin? Because it runs on its own platform, its own blockchain. Now you may have heard about something called Ethereum or ETH. Now that's also actually quite popular and it's actually a much bigger thing than Bitcoin really is. Because on Bitcoin, you are only running one cryptocurrency and doing some transactions. But in Ethereum, thousands of people are able to create their own businesses or their own tokens. Now, what do we mean by the word token? Ethereum is the name of the platform. So natively what runs on it is called ETH, which is a coin. But people like you and me can create our own projects. And for those, we will create our own tokens, which will run on top of Ethereum. And because they are not the native ETHs, we call them as tokens. I'll give you an example. So there is this site which allows you to decide what should be the uniform of your favorite football team, for example. In future, they will even let you decide who all should be bought into the football team. That is done by a token called CHZ, which is running on top of Ethereum. And people like you and me can download the app from the App Store, invest some money in that, hold this currency of theirs called CHZ, and depending upon how much currency we own, we can actually decide what should be the uniform of my favorite football team. Who are the players that they should buy? So that then becomes what we call as a cryptocurrency token. And that is something all of us can use to create our own online businesses on the blockchain. Any questions?
No.
Is it clear?
It's absolutely perfect. Please go ahead. Yeah, clear, please.
Okay. Then there is a very interesting concept called the central bank of India is planning to come out with its own kind of a cryptocurrency. Now, because the Reserve Bank of India is called the central bank of our country, the main bank, if they issue their own currency, which is not like Bitcoin because it is issued by the government, so to say, when they issue it, it will be called as a central bank digital currency. And many countries around the world have already started to experiment with this concept. China, in fact, happens to be today the leader in that. They have already launched it. They call it the digital yuan. And they have already done millions of transactions with their citizens to try out how this currency is going to work. And I strongly believe that as the world progresses, we are going to go more and more into those kind of digital transactions. In fact, people like me who are older people, we are comfortable using notes. But today, if you look at youngsters, everybody uses the digital money. Now, when you look at your Axis Bank or ICICI Bank balance, it's on a mobile phone. And you can go anywhere and through Paytm and through your app, you're paying the money. So the world is already moving to a system which is going away from paper and going into digital money. And cryptocurrencies are the next level of evolution of this digital money. Now, there are chances that cryptocurrency may get declared illegal in our country. Government has said that that may happen. We don't know. So what had happened was in 2018, the Reserve Bank of India had made a rule and told all the banks in India that you are not allowed to deal with any cryptocurrency company. So immediately what happened is those cryptocurrency companies had to move out. So first some of them moved to Sikkim. Now you will wonder what is so special about Sikkim? After all, Sikkim is also part of India. Although Sikkim is a part of India, the state of Sikkim doesn't come under Reserve Bank of India. They have their separate central bank, and states in India are allowed to use that. So initially, a lot of these exchanges moved on to Sikkim. So now we have this concept called stablecoin, and Facebook has taken a huge lead in this direction. Now, what is the meaning of stablecoin? So a stablecoin is something which is issued against physical money or digital money. So what can happen is Facebook can hold money in its bank account, and against that it is going to issue a stable coin currency on one of its apps. Now let me tell you why this is a very major thing. Now just try to imagine that you are, let's say, your business is to teach people Hindi language, or let's say you are teaching people Kannada language, and you are teaching people around the world. So you are doing your business through Facebook, maybe you're doing it through Instagram. Customer can directly come to you and you can teach him online through Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram. Now the customer wants to pay you money. Now today if he wants to pay you money, it is not so easy to pay from across the world because he will have to go to the bank will then do a swift transaction and you will be surprised, but this process doesn't happen immediately. It can take many days and cost a lot of commission. You know, in UPI in India, we are able to send money in seconds, but India is the only country where you can actually do it that fast. But when money comes from abroad to us, it is very slow and a lot of commissions are taken. Now, suppose Facebook tells you that why do you want to do that? You can directly use my stable coin, which is called, let's say, Facebook coin for dollars, for Singapore dollar, for euro. And that money will come to you instantly and you don't have to pay any commission. Now, what will you say? In all probability, you will say, yes, it makes a lot of sense to me. So then what can happen is people can start using the Facebook currency and the government will never even come to know about it. Now, there are obviously problems that can happen. One very major problem that can happen is nobody will pay tax anymore. Yeah. Now, many people don't like to pay tax, but it is illegal not to pay tax. But if we all move on to this world where we are using, let's say, a Facebook coin, if you don't pay tax, the government will not even come to know. Government comes to know when you use the banking system. Government comes to know when you have cash. But if you are using a stable coin like this, government would not even come to know what is happening. And that would create a big problem. And that is one of the reasons some countries are not going to legally allow this. The second problem with cryptocurrency that we see is the concept of drugs and other illegal things being sold. In fact, I'll share one very interesting story. I came across Bitcoin for the first time in 2013. Now, I was doing cybercrime investigations for a lot of countries. And this one government, one police department came to me and said that nowadays there is a new kind of drug which is coming and people are buying it using this thing called Bitcoin. I had not heard of Bitcoin at that time. So then when I went in to figure out what is happening, I realized a very surprising thing. Somebody could walk up to one youngster sitting in a coffee shop and give him cash. That youngster will immediately convert this cash into something called Bitcoin and send it somewhere in the world. And then he will give you a number. So let us say he gives you the number 80. And he will say, now go home. Few days later, a book will come to your house by courier from one of the major e-commerce sites. You will open the book, go to page number 80. Then you will tear the page number 80 out. cut it into small pieces and put a piece on your tongue, and the drug will take effect.
Oh my God.
So, in this entire process, do you realize what is happening? You are paying your cash, which is going into something called Bitcoin. Nobody knows where it is going, maybe going to some other country. And the courier company, which is delivering the book, they also don't know what is happening because this drug is colorless, tasteless, odorless. Even the police dog cannot sniff and find out. And it looks just like a normal book which has come to you. Could be a Harry Potter book, but only you know the page number because otherwise you will have to eat the entire book for the drug to take effect.
Oh
And
my
that is
God.
how criminals were using, and that is how I came across this concept of Bitcoin.
It's
And
very
did a lot of
interesting.
research. Of course, thank you. We managed to catch these people who were doing it. But yes, Bitcoin was initially used a lot for illegal transactions. In fact, one of the biggest examples was a site called Silk Road. Now, this site, you will not believe it, it did more than $1 billion of transactions completely using Bitcoin. And they were selling all kinds of illegal things from guns to drugs to fake documents, everything was being sold. Now, these sites are actually very clever. They don't run on the normal internet. You know, there are actually multiple internets in the world. What you and I use where Google works is the public internet. But next level is what criminals use, which is called the dark net. You know, you use a separate browser called the Tor browser. The websites that don't end in .com, they are very different kinds of naming system, and there all sorts of illegal things sell. By the way, that is only the second. There are actually total 7 such internets in the world. But anyway, let's not go into that part. Right now, what you need to understand, yes, criminals do use it. But have you ever heard of the term ransomware? You know, where somebody comes and he puts a virus kind of a thing which locks all the data on your computer. And then a warning pops up that if you want to unlock your data, you have to pay us some money in Bitcoin. Why is it called ransomware? Because it is like somebody has kidnapped your data. And unless you pay money, they will not return the data to you. If you don't pay, every day that amount is becoming double. And if you
Oh,
don't pay, your data is gone forever. And if you pay them money, you have to pay using Bitcoin because they know that once they collect the money in Bitcoin, you really can't do anything to track them down. Now the world has moved even beyond Bitcoin, and criminals today don't actually use Bitcoin anymore. They are using other coins which are considered even better from a privacy point. Things like Monero and few other examples. So yes, on the one hand, crime is being conducted. But again, I could also say most criminals still use money, cash like this. So does it mean we should ban cash also? No. You can go to the market and buy a knife. Now you can use the knife to cut vegetables or you can use the knife to murder someone. Is that meaning the knife is illegal? No. It's what you do which could be legal or illegal. So similarly, just like this can be misused, cryptocurrencies can also be misused, but that doesn't make them illegal by themselves. So let us hope that the government doesn't ban it. Anyway, as of today, cryptocurrencies are emerging as a very good revenue model, very good business model. People are making money from it. And in fact, what I think is the best is this where youngsters can actually start their businesses on cryptocurrencies. You don't even need a bank account. And you can create innovative technology businesses using blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Any questions?
yeah, I have a small question, Rohas. So now it is when we comparing with the present dollar, for example, dollar versus cryptocurrency. So what is the suppose when we you if you wanted to change dollars into cryptocurrency, how it could be changed, and what is the dollar versus cryptocurrency?
Sure.
Right.
So one option is you can buy cryptocurrencies using dollars, and for each cryptocurrency, there is a separate rate which is available in the market, just like you have in the share market, different companies shares at different rates. So you can go to a website like coinmarketcap.com. Also, and there for each currency you will see the rate. So for example, Bitcoin is about $50,000 for one Bitcoin.
Wow.
Ethereum would be about $1,000. Some would be even less than $1. And another
Mhm.
interesting thing is you can also buy in rupees. It is not necessary that you have to do this in dollars only. So in India also now there are a lot of crypto exchanges which have come, and directly from your bank account you can transfer money to their bank account, and that balance will then show up dashboard, and then you can choose to buy currencies even in rupees. So I would recommend that if you're based in India, then you should use INR for buying. If you're based abroad, then you can of course use dollars or other currencies.
So
And the rates are constantly fluctuating.
can we how to invest that amount into the market? Is there
Sure.
any proper ways or
Right.
illegal?
Sure, sure. So there are lots of crypto exchanges. So for example, I usually use one which is called WazirX, one which is called CoinDCX, and internationally I also use something which is called as the Binance, Binance. So let's take an example of how it works. So you could go to the CoinDCX or WazirX website, create your username, password, and your account. Then you have to do some basic KYC. So they may ask you to upload a copy of your Aadhaar, PAN card, and they will ask you to give your bank details. Then they will send you 1 rupee into your bank account to verify that it is actually your bank account.
Is it secure?
Once that
Is it secure?
Yes, it is secure. You have, just like you have in the normal banks, you have the concept of OTP. They also have concept of OTP. So when you log in, OTP can come on your phone or email, and then you can log in. So I would say it is about quite secure. Of course, I will like to clarify, nothing in the world is 100% secure.
Yeah.
Criminals always find ways of hacking into your system. They can
Mm.
fool you also by doing a fake call and trying to convince you to give the OTP. But by and large, I would say it is reasonably safe and secure.
Okay. So go ahead. After that, we have, after getting the OTP, then we can invest the amount.
Then
And,
yes, we can log in and we can keep transferring money from our bank account to their bank account, whatever we want to invest. It will then show as a INR balance. And then we can use that balance to buy cryptocurrencies, and it happens within seconds. So when you place an order, within seconds, it can get fulfilled.
Okay. So how many countries are made it as illegal right now?
Legal or illegal?
Legal.
Legal. Oh, many countries are there. So you could legally use this in almost all European countries, USA, Japan. Even in India, you can use it. It is still not illegal. Singapore. In fact, very few countries have actually made it illegal. Most countries, it is legal. Some countries are even recognizing it as a foreign exchange, like Japan. They have taken a very positive approach where they consider Bitcoin just like another foreign exchange. So that is like one of the best levels of acceptance that has happened. Then there are many countries where you can pay Bitcoin almost everywhere. Do you know there are also Bitcoin ATMs? In fact, I think the first crypto ATM was set up in Bangalore, if I'm not mistaken. A few years ago, in one of the malls, it was set up. So yes, internationally there are ATMs. You go there, you just hold your phone against it, and you can buy the cryptos, encash your cryptos into local currency. Taxi also will be taking cryptocurrencies from you. And for cryptocurrencies also, you get a lot of apps. So just like your bank gives you apps for Axis Bank, ICICI, whatever. Similarly, in crypto also there are many such apps available, and it can be used for buying a lot of things.
Okay. Is there any banks are using for this money that into cryptocurrency to transfer into the our rupees like that?
Good question. No, as of right now in India, no one is doing it because RBI had recently banned it. So banks are still apprehensive. But you will be surprised to know that in other countries, banks are doing it regularly. So in fact, in US, recently the government came out with a ruling saying that all banks in the US, they can even run the nodes of Bitcoin and other such blockchain. So banks there are legally allowed to even use cryptocurrencies. And as step by step, different countries are opening up to that concept. In Europe also, most banks are allowed to do it. And in fact, you may have read in the media that recently Elon Musk's company, which is Tesla, it bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, Tesla is a listed company, which means they are trading on the stock exchanges. So they are under a lot of regulation, but still they are legally allowed to buy up huge amounts of Bitcoin.
So what do you say, Rohas? Is it good to invest as a cryptocurrency? What do you say? What is your suggestion?
Of course, I will. But before I give my suggestion, I will give you a legal disclaimer that I am not a registered financial consultant or advisor. So whatever I am saying is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You have to consider it before you buy. But yes, I do think it is a very good thing. But before you invest, you should understand it. See, like before you put your money in the share market, you should understand share market. Before putting money into gold market, you have to understand it. Now, cryptocurrency is a little complicated to understand. I have tried to explain Bitcoin in a very simple way, but actually there is a lot more complication. And if you don't understand it, you will end up losing all your money. I'll tell you why. Suppose you are using your bank, online banking with Axis Bank or ICICI. What happens if you delete your app? Does the money go away? No. You can reinstall the app and the money will come back because there is a bank in the middle taking care of this. But in crypto, there is nobody in the middle. If you delete your Bitcoin, it is gone forever. If you delete the app, it is gone forever. And I am the biggest example. In 2013, when I was experimenting, I bought some Bitcoins to learn. And you know what I did after that? I deleted them. Because I never thought Bitcoin would become so expensive. I thought it is like a stupid thing only for criminals to use. So I experimented and I deleted. Today,
Yeah.
I feel so bad remembering those days because that was a huge amount. It would have become huge amount, but
Uh,
there is no way to get it back. Because what you don't realize is in your app, you are storing your private key. If it is gone, nobody in the world can get it back for you. So I have written a free online book called Future Money Playbook.
mm.
I would recommend all of you first download that book. Great.
Ross, it is what is finally what do you want to say about cryptocurrency and how to introduce this to the people? How long it will take to get into everybody's pocket?
Okay. So already I believe in India at least more than few lakh people have started to use cryptocurrencies. I
Okay.
think it will take some time, but because it is a little complicated and it is important that people take time and once they understand it, only then they should start to invest. But I
Mm,
would say over the next 3 to 5 years, we can see a majority of our country will be using cryptocurrencies. Whether
mm,
they are using the private ones or they are using the ones issued by the government of India, I don't know.
mm.
But I'm sure 3 to 5 years, almost all of us will be using some form of crypto.
Okay, okay. So once the government is encouraging to use crypto, automatically the price will come down, then everybody can use it. That is, it depends on the how the government will take the steps towards to use cryptocurrency, right?
Absolutely, I agree with you. It is very important that the government considers it in a positive way.
Yeah, if anybody using, that is the reason criminals are using if the government is not using properly. So criminals are using at
Yes, they are. And in fact, of course, we must always remember, otherwise, anyway, criminals are using normal cash.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it is not like with crypto is the only thing that will help criminals to grow.
Mm. Right. Anything else? Because you have to tell more if we anything else regarding cryptocurrency. Then what do you
Yes.
say about final about cryptocurrency? Final words.
Sure. So I would say again, do not invest in cryptocurrencies till you read my book. I have written it from the point of view of a very novice person. Absolute, it starts from the basics. So you must download and read it. Once you understand it, then you must be very careful when you buy the crypto. See, remember, there are 8,000 plus cryptocurrencies in the world,
Okay.
not one
Wow.
and two, 8,000 plus. So
Mm,
you have to understand which one to buy and which not to buy. So, some cryptocurrencies are good and they are having good projects. Some
mm.
are absolutely fraud type. So you need to actually understand how to identify it. And that is the reason I'm recommending once you learn enough, only then you should invest your money in it.
Okay. Okay, Rohas. Thank you very much. And I really appeal you. Please go through this future money playbook once, read it, and then what you have to do regarding cryptocurrency you can understand. So thank you very much for your wonderful words, Rohas. Thank you once again. Bye.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.